Probably the greatest achievement in the first 10 years was eliminating erosion out of the farming systems and out of the landscape, which has been great for the profile of farming going forward. And I think the way we've done that with the trials and so forth that have started Mallee Sustainable Farming from being a few meetings around South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales to see if farmers were interested, to setting up an organisation and then to do some trials, and the collaboration of all the farmers that have been involved at the start and the ones that have continuously been involved since that point. It's hard to believe 20 years has gone by, but looking around the paddocks these days and particularly right here, right now, you know, you can see that there's been a lot of improvement in farming systems.
I look back to when we first initiated MSF, and back in those days the Northern Mallee was at times a dust bowl. You know, a lot of farmers are trying to do their best with stubble conservation, but you know, trying to still maintain cover and crop successfully was really challenging.
I guess for me, I sort of started no-till farming when everyone told me that it wouldn't work. Mallee Sustainable Farming came along. The collaboration I had with researchers at that very early time, when I was being challenged myself of whether this is going to work or not, has made a big difference in the way I've proceeded going forward and the changes I've made. David Roget, Gupta and Jeff Baldock were the three that stand out right at the beginning, and there's been a string of people since, Michael Moody, and there's many more that have contributed on the way through. But yeah, certainly David and Gupta and Jeff Baldock at the beginning, they were the foundation and start of Mallee Sustainable Farming. We're dealing with farmers, researchers and agronomists all together, working together for one common goal. You know, we were really a pilot group. We really were flying by the seat of our pants. There was no pro forma out there that we could go and look at and say, okay, this is the model we're going to use. We created the model. And I reckon that was a great challenge and a great success, because there's been a lot that follows since Mallee Sustainable Farming started.
I think the greatest achievement is farmers working for farmers, and the total commitment that they have over all those years in terms of time and just commitment to find the answers and better solutions for their farming.
I think we're definitely far better farm managers now, farm business managers, than we were then, because it was all a case of when it rained you went out on the tractor, where now we think about what we do, we plan the year's activities, and we're running far better businesses. We have worked together to change the face of the in-the-paddock farming systems. MSF played a large part in that, and that comes through partly from being able to demonstrate in farmers' paddocks what is achievable. And I think, you know, we have led largely to the reduction in dust in the Mallee.
I remember back to those days with David Roget working at Wakery and that there, and saying to me, you know, I reckon you can crop a lot more intensively in the Mallee soils and do it effectively and profitably, and with less cultivation as well too. And you know, I think that's really been one of the big success stories, is turning the Mallee around from what was a dust bowl at times. Well, one of the key things is that you have trials happening right on your doorstep. You know, if it's not a neighbour's property or your own, it's you know, not too far down the road. So it's really relevant to the area that you're farming in, which I think is quite critical, and it's been one of the things that's really helped the adoption of new technology and some of these newer farming systems.
The crop sequencing work that MSF did out near Werrimal 4 or 5 years ago was an absolute game changer for my mind. It demonstrated beyond a doubt, by breaking the wheat-on-wheat rotation, the benefits were just obvious.
The difference in just 5 years is amazing. We are no longer cropping wheat on wheat, for instance, in our rotational program, and nearly 50% of our program is non-cereals crops. We originally started by just dabbling and doing a couple paddocks of legumes, and it was the intent was purely just for rotations to get a better wheat crop the next year. How things have turned around and evolved is just amazing. Now it's one of our most profitable crops.
Nowadays, you know, with precision agriculture, we can virtually turn each of our farming businesses into research centres, and so why not take advantage of that?
There's no better place to have a trial than on your own dirt, and so MSF have been able to support several trials here on our farm that have helped us with the adoption of what would have been called break crops, but are now just part of our ongoing rotation. And we've been able to use the results from those trials to really support our confidence in moving into some of these newer crop types, and we're now reaping the benefits of those decisions.
I think the on-farm trials are absolutely essential in getting a change for adoption, and it makes it far more practical for people to see what happens on different soil types in different locations in our low rainfall region, to see what might work for them.
Some things might not work here that we've got a thought, and it might work over in New South Wales, and that's the beautiful part of the collaboration of all the 3 states. Moving forward, I think it's only going to get better and better and stronger, the collaboration between the farmers, the researchers, the funding bodies and Mallee Sustainable as a group whole, working together and seeing the results. It's something that's going to grow and grow and grow.
There would certainly be a lot of farmers who wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for Mallee Sustainable and what they've achieved.
But I've got to say that I see MSF very much as a whole of community organisation into the future, and I think we will need to be prepared to look at other community things and technology outside the farm gate, which may well assist the farm business but may not be easily recognised from sitting inside the farm gate.
I just think we need to keep the message up there of how important working locally is. There's one thing to think big, plan big, but unless you get down to the farm level and work at the farm level, you're really not going to make change.
Yeah, I've got a big vision that farming is going to be a lot different in 20 years' time than what it is now, and it's going to be all disc seeders, and there'll be multi-species cover crops grown summer and winter, and we could be growing corn and as a cash crop in the summertime in certain seasons. We could be growing sorghum, sunflowers. It will change because we are moving the soil forward, because the dynamic of the soil is only as good as what we give it, and people like Gupta will be seen as being the pioneers of all of that. So I think that there's a great future for the Mallee, there's a great future for Mallee Sustainable Farming, and I think the sky's the limit.